Well, guys, turns out I am more insecure than I thought I was. Um, let me explain. Um, tell you about my recent discoveries of life. Um, if you've watched my last vlog, then you know that you saw that about a week and a half ago I went to Vegas for a conference for Grow with Video Live 2022. It was super fire, so much fun. I did vlog, some of it and everything. Um, but yeah, so I wanted to hop on here and talk about what I learned and the effect that had on me, and the ways that challenged me and growth and all of that. And one of I would say the biggest takeaway for me was like my biggest struggle right now with YouTube has been consistency. Learning to post consistently and all of that, and really give it my all. And part of that is, a legitimate struggle of like having just gotten married not that long ago, trying to figure that out, time stuff, with work and, marriage and everything all at the same time, trying to fit YouTube in and have the energy for it. And all of that is challenging. So there's a legitimate aspect of that. But what I realized during said conference is that a few things, a few core struggles of mine, issues with me. One being that I am a bit of perfectionist. I realized that. I already knew that I have like this somewhat crippling fear of failure. That's like been a big issue for me for a long time, but I've grown in it a lot. Like all these things I'm about to talk about, like all these struggles, like I've known that they exist. I just thought I had done more with them than I have, apparently. I thought I was farther along than I am, which I feel like I feel like we typically end up in one of two categories as people. We either feel like we're farther along than we are, or we feel like we're not as far as we are. And it's kind of, we just bounce between the two, I feel like. But anyway, point is that I thought I was farther along these things. So I realized I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I know that I have a fear of failure, and so together that kind of made me not want to try different things and not want to branch out, not want to do things I didn't know how to do. Like that's the big thing. Is like Cheyenne would give me advice or like thoughts on how I can do things differently because she knows stuff about video, she knows stuff about lighting, and it's not that I would be like, screw you, babe. It's like I just wouldn't want to embrace it, and I was like having this battle in my head of like, I'm trying to like keep this true to me, and like it's got to be an expression of me. I'm trying to like keep it, I feel like this is what God told me to do, and so I got to do it exactly in the blueprint that He's given me. It's got to be exactly how He wanted me to do it. It's got to be exactly in the way that He told me to do it. He's given me, kind of a blueprint or a kind of context for how I'm supposed to do this, and it's got to be exactly in that. It's got to be in the way that I see it, the way that I know it to be. And like I would battle with it because things would come up and like she would say stuff or like she would give advice, and like that would be my pushback, and that's the challenge. But I also felt like taking advice is good, and so I'm like something's wrong. And I realized during the conference that that kind of the core of it, the core of my issues, there's a bit of perfectionism, and so that hinders me, and there's a big fear of failure, and that hinders me. But I realized that at the core of it, I don't want to put my heart into YouTube. I don't want it to become mine. I started doing this because God told me to do it. That was like, all right, Micah, time to do YouTube. And, I've told y'all before that, like, I pushed back on that, like, hardcore. When He told me, I was like, bro, put me on stage all day long. I'm about that life. Put me in front of video? No, not happen. I don't like it. He was like, I am not really concerned, Micah, about what you like right now. This is what I want you to do. You didn't like the idea of stage when I told you that. I'm like, you make a fair point, so I'll do it. And so I did it, I'm in it, I'm doing it, I've had ups, I've had downs, I've had, there was a period where I was doing pretty solid and I was pretty consistent, and then for a long time I haven't been. But I realized that at the core of it, I don't want to make it mine. I don't want to put my heart into it. Because as long as I can keep it, this is what God told me to do. The cat's trying to get. As long as I can keep it, this is what God told me to do. And it's a thing for him, and like I'm just doing YouTube because he wants me to, and it's not my own. It's not an expression of me. I don't adopt it as my own and put my heart into it. As long as it's just his. If it fails, or if I suck, if I don't do well, if my videos are terrible, it doesn't matter, because it's all about him. It's him. I'm like, well, you told me to do it, so you're gonna have to make it work. You're gonna have to make it happen. I'm gonna make the videos, and if they suck, then you've got to do something to make it better. That's been my thought process. And I wasn't necessarily like actively thinking that way, but that's what I was hiding behind without realizing it. And so I realized that, for me to be able to do YouTube, for YouTube to become an expression of me, because that's what happened when God told me he wanted me on stage. I was like, when he was like, I want you to preach, I'm like, bro, you're crazy. He's like, nah, bro, I'm serious. I'm like, all right, well, you're the boss, but I don't know, homie. I don't know. And then over time, like, I love it. And I feel so natural there, and it's like such an expression of me, like it's just a part of who I am. It just works so well. I flow so easily. Like, yeah, it freaks me out sometimes still. I've thrown up before going on stage tons of times. But it's like being on stage feels natural to me. And he developed that, And I told him when he said, it's time to get on YouTube, I told him, I was like, okay, well, when you told me you wanted me on stage and you wanted me to do all these other things, you made them become natural to me. Like, it was things that freaked me out, it was things I didn't want to do, and then after I started moving in that direction, you made it become natural to me. So the only way that I'm going to do YouTube is if you make it natural to me. He was like, all right, cool. And it hasn't become that. And, and I've kind of like held it against him a little bit, at the same time knowing that, when things aren't going right in a deal with you and God, it's not his fault, So I know that, but I'm like, what's the hold up? I don't know where I'm missing it. Maybe I just need to keep cracking at this thing. But I realized that the reason that it hasn't become natural is because I've refused to take it. I've refused to make it my own because I'm terrified of making it my own. I got into this thing with Jesus because I was like, so you telling me that you want to lead me in everything that I do. You want to tell me, exactly what steps to take. You want to speak to me, lead me, guide me, show me what to do in every area of life, and I don't have to make decisions for myself anymore. That sounds amazing. Because I always hated making decisions, which I don't want to ramble into. Maybe one day I'll explain it. But anyway, that was the big driving force, and that was good because it put me in a position to develop a mindset of surrender and being completely sold out, and that it's not about what I want, it's not about what I feel, it's not about what I think, it's him. And so I'm just like, my thoughts and feelings don't matter. Like, he cares, but like, he has a better plan, and I'm just totally surrendered. So it developed to that, and that was good. But the reason why I was so drawn to that was this crippling weight of fear that I've embraced in my life and just built my life around to keep me safe and to be able to function in different areas and do things, but also protect myself. And I really feel like what he's trying to do now, especially with this YouTube thing, is that he wants me to not jump out without him, but he's given me specific context for what this channel is supposed to be and for the way that he wants me to do it. Like some really, like detailed things of how things are, he wants me to unfold things that will come with time. And you'll get to see all of those things. But he wants me to take that and own it, to try different things. You know, on that last vlog, I did like 3 voiceovers. Never done a voiceover on my videos, I don't think. Did like three voiceovers on that vlog. You know, because trying different things. Maybe it sucks. Maybe no one wants it. Maybe I don't do it well. Maybe no one likes it. But you know, you learn by action. And this, more than anything else in my life so far, except, you know, maybe marriage, but marriage is different. I just don't think. Sorry, I'm getting off on a tangent. Reel it in, Micah. But this, more than anything else in my life, is something that you just kind of have to take a stab at. You know, like with work, I can figure things out pretty easily. You know, I don't have to necessarily like make a call and put it out there until I understand it and I know what I'm doing, you know, to a certain extent. And YouTube is art, you know? It's art. Making videos is art, and so it's an expression of me if I own it as such. And so it's putting my heart out there. It's making myself vulnerable, and I'm terrified of being vulnerable. And I'm insecure that I'm gonna mess it all up, and I'm gonna fail, and then I'm gonna try these different things, and they're gonna suck, and nobody's gonna like it. I'm gonna get rejected, you know. But that's the point, you know. Like you don't start out perfect. You know, you never really get perfect, but you don't start out, you know, being Gary Vee, like, you know, or you know, why can't I remember his name? Sean, who leads Think Media, you know, who I just had the conference with. Like, you don't start out being Ruslan, who I just got to meet and is killing it on YouTube. Like, you don't start out as these people. You make tons of mistakes and you make crappy videos. We got to see Sean's first video, you know, the guy who built Think Media to what it is and made that huge conference. And it was hilarious because it was terrible. So you don't start out there. And I think what God's trying to challenge me in is to be willing to step out in what he's taught me. You know, for a long time, he was totally okay with me just only doing what he told me to do. He would tell me to do something. I would ask him to confirm it like 1,000 times. I'd be like, "You sure, homie?" He's like, "I'm sure." I'd be like, "But are you sure?" He's like, "I'm sure, Micah. But you actually want me to do this?" "I do." You know, and he's totally fine with that. And he'll reassure me as many times as necessary, and he's totally cool about that. But I think he's trying to graduate me. And he's kind of being like, "Micah, I've taught you a lot of things. You've interacted with me. You've sought after me. We've done life together for a while. And you know me to an extent. And so I want you to embrace the things that I give you, to make them your own. And I want us to walk together in it." You know, because God's not about, you know, you trying to drag him along to whatever you want to do. But God's also not about dragging us along to what he wants us to do. You know, if he wanted to drag people along, he would have just made robots. He wouldn't give us free will to begin with. He wants it to be this relationship thing, you know, where we're connected and we're one, we're working together and we're walking together. And so I think he's trying to develop that side of me to where it's not him dragging me along anymore, but I own it. I make it my own. I give my input. I'm like, you know, let's try this in the video. It seems like a fun idea. Maybe it sucks, maybe it doesn't, you know, but we'll do some voiceovers. To just step out. I feel like this video is going really long, so I don't want to just bore you with my ramblings. But the point is, you know, a core aspect of this channel, you know, the channel is about teaching people how to interact with relationship with Jesus and showing them what that looks like in my own life. And the point of these sit-down videos is to just kind of be like, yeah, this is hard. You know, like, this is my struggle. This is where I'm failing. This is where I'm, like, fighting with God about things. And so, you know, I just want to go in here and be like, hey, turns out I'm far more insecure than I thought I was. I thought I worked through it more than I have. But I'm still afraid of being vulnerable, and I'm being challenged in a new way with it. But we're going to face the challenge, you know? And if I had to guess, some of you probably are in a similar place in life. You know, we're all afraid of things. Most of us are afraid of being vulnerable and being rejected. I'd say all of us are afraid of being vulnerable and being rejected to varying degrees. And, you know, most of us are insecure about stuff. I feel like all of us are insecure about something. And so, you know, hey, me too. So come with me. Let's fight it together, because I'm going to take this thing on. You know, I see it now. I saw it at the conference. I see what my issues are. I don't necessarily know how I'm going to beat them, other than just doing the things I'm scared of doing, which I kind of guess is what it is, you know. I'm sure I'm going to have issues along the way, and I'm going to fail at times, and blah, 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 and I may sink back into stuff. But we're going to tackle this thing. So, yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully it's helpful in some way, and, you know, kind of helps you to not feel alone in your struggle, you know, because I'm out here struggling too. I know it can be really hard to open up about our struggles, and then as a result, we kind of feel alone in our struggles, like we're the only one dealing with this thing. I'm the only one thinking this thing. But in reality, we all are, you know, maybe in slightly different ways or slightly different thoughts, but we're all dealing with this. And so I want to be the one that's on here and just says, hey, I'm dealing with it too. So, you know, let's figure this thing out together. But yeah, so that's the video. Thanks for watching. You're amazing, and you're valuable, and you're important, and I love you, and Jesus loves you, and I'll see you next time.